Hey, what's going on, everyone? I just want to talk about a whole bunch of random things. This is going to be a very, very random video. I'm going to be jumping all over the place. I'm going to go back in time, and I'm going to talk about current stuff as well. So, first thing I want to talk about is ROH on HDNet. I want to talk about the reviews for the show that I've been doing. I just want to get some feedback. Like, do you guys really want the review, or do you think it's kind of passable? Because sometimes, like, the show just doesn't offer anything special. Not every single show is going to be amazing. So, kind of like last week. So, I was thinking, like, if the show's kind of mediocre, should I just pass on it? Because I thought my last video was kind of weak, kind of mediocre. So I don't know. I just don't think it's kind of worth doing a review if the show's not worth checking out. So anyway, though, I hope True Slayer keeps on doing his reviews of the show because it's great exposure though when he does it because he does it right after he does a Raw review and then he'll do the HDNet review. So I think that's great. But yeah, overall, really excited about Final Battle coming up. Really think this is going to be a great event. I never really got to talk about Roderick Strong. Ever since Roderick Strong won the title, I never got to talk about it. And I just wanted to say that I think Roderick deserves a nice long title reign. I mean, he really hasn't been in the spotlight since he's won the belt. I mean, he's been in Japan. Him and Eddie Edwards, I think they were tagging up in Japan. But yeah, I'm very, very happy for Roderick Strong. And his title win kind of was an afterthought, because Homicide came out right after it. No one really gave a shit. I don't know. It was kind of a weak title win because he was a heel. I think that really hurt it. But yeah, Roderick Strong is such a great wrestler, though. He's, like I said before, he's really like the Chris Benoit. He's been like the workhorse for ROH. And it would just be a shame if he would lose it this quickly. I think giving it to Davey in the four-way match, I really think they're going to do a four-way Final Battle, but I would love to see Davey versus Roger one on one. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see that. Even though it's kind of been done to death, I've never seen it live before. Their matches are that's just my style right there. I love those two guys. But Roderick deserves a longer title reign in my opinion. That would be just way too short. I mean, he hasn't even wrestled. I think the first time he wrestled was at Survival of the Fittest, like on an official DVD show this past weekend. So I definitely see him keeping the belt like at least until WrestleMania weekend. I think maybe you could do Roderick versus Davey at in Atlanta at WrestleMania weekend. I think that would work a lot better. Um, as far as Eddie Edwards goes, I'm sorry, this spoiler alert. So just turn the video down if you don't want to be spoiled. But this DVD is not going to come out until after New Year's anyway, so don't even worry about it. So the Survival of the Fittest winner is Eddie Edwards. Surprised the shit out of me. I really didn't think he was going to win. I thought maybe Kevin Steen or El Generico. I really thought it was going to come down to not come down to one of those guys, but I thought at least one of them would win it. But in retrospect, I think it makes a lot of sense because you have Steen and Generico in Survival of the Fittest. If it came down to those two guys, it kind of spoils any plans for Final Battle. You kind of want to keep them separated, so it does make sense. It came down to Eddie Edwards and Kenny King. So Kenny actually went over El Generico. I'm fine with that. I thought it was great. Eddie Edwards actually got hurt. I think he popped something out of his collarbone, and he had to wrestle just like the ladder war. He had to wrestle through an injury. So Eddie Edwards is a badass. He wrestles through pain. He doesn't give a shit. He's not a pussy at all. So congratulations to him. I heard the match was kind of mediocre. I think Claudio got like 3 eliminations. Then it came down to Kenny and Eddie Edwards. So I really felt like Eddie was pretty much established already. Like I felt like Davey went out of his way multiple times to put Eddie Edwards over, and he's the television champion. But it seems like Eddie never really, he hasn't really officially got to that top level yet. Like you really can't take him seriously as a main eventer quite yet. So I think it was a good move for ROH. Him and King in the finals. So those are the two guys really needed to push. So I kind of agree with it. And some people are down to Adam Cole. Some people are like, why the fuck are they pushing this guy? I really don't think they've seen enough of him. So yeah, the ROH message board was kind of critical of Survival of the Fittest as well. So yeah, I just want to talk about WWE really quickly. This might, like Honor Hammer was talking about, like this might be the worst year in WWE history. They really need to step up the game. I completely agree. I really feel like Sheamus is a big reason for that. I really felt like when they gave the belt to Sheamus, the championship kind of lost a lot of credibility in my eyes. I just can't take them seriously anymore. I really feel like, you know, I'll talk about Triple H later, but I really feel like, we need some of the established guys to get back on top and then, work with the younger guys again in main event feuds. You got to give the WWE credit, though. I feel like they've been pushing guys, though. They have been pushing talent. I just think they've been pushing the wrong talent. You got Sheamus. You got Wade Barrett, who's an incredible heel, by the way. I need to see more of him in the ring. I haven't seen a lot of his pay-per-view matches. His in-ring work so far, but they've been pushing Daniel Bryan to an extent. It's great what they've done with Daniel Bryan ever since he got fired, ever since he's come back. That whole thing was a blessing in disguise, like seriously. So, and and the Miz as well. The Miz is a much bigger star than he was last year. So they have been pushing guys, but these guys are just kind of they're more characters. They're more of they're pretty good on the mic, but they're not really guys that can hang with a lot of the guys we've seen in Ring of Honor. So I think that's what kind of puts a bad taste in our mouths. And people say, well, why are you bitching? They're pushing young talent. And I would actually, this is just what my heart is saying. Like, I'm not trying to bitch about it, but I would actually like to see Triple H come back and win the title as a heel, and just have one more dominant title reign, working as a monster heel. I just think that would be great. That's kind of what I want. You look at the WWE from 1999 to 2006, like probably like after the whole shit with RVD and Sabu happened, that's when the WWE started going really downhill, in my opinion. And during that whole time frame, 1999 to 2006, Triple H was pretty much a heel, with the exception of the first 8 months of 2002, and that was pretty much the best that WWE has ever been, in my opinion. Even 2005, I thought that was a great year as well. So I just feel like Triple H is definitely he was definitely the backbone. He was definitely the top heel during that time, and I really feel like he made things really interesting. It'll be like, even though it's PG right now, he can still pull it off, though. I really feel like Triple H is one guy that definitely brings a lot of credibility to the championship. He makes the belt seem important, which I think is the biggest problem right now. So this has been the worst WWE year since 2000. I would say that it probably has. I mean, maybe 2007 might have been worse, but overall, if it was not for Bryan Danielson, I would not check out any of these pay-per-views. I would totally pass on all of them. I haven't seen a pay-per-view since Extreme Rules. Or I'm sorry, I saw SummerSlam. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If it wasn't for Bryan Danielson, SummerSlam would have been a disaster. That would have been like the worst WWE pay-per-view of all time. I mean, I definitely think it was possible. So yeah, all right. So the next guy I want to talk about is Brock Lesnar. At UFC 121. He finally lost. He had his confrontation with the Undertaker. I got people speculating whether Brock would eventually come back. And I really think he will. I really think I think he loves wrestling. I actually think he does love professional wrestling. The thing is, I just don't think he wants to, work a full-time schedule, travel on the road, and all that shit. I really think he'll be willing to come back, for one match, or even working a part-time schedule. I think Brock will definitely do that. I think Brock has shown, even in UFC, that he wants, to let a little bit of personality out, and trash talk. And he's still got, WWE in his blood, in my opinion. So I think Brock will definitely come back. It's just that it's just going to take time. He's still hot with UFC right now. Obviously, he's under contract. But once he gets freed up, Brock, based on his interviews, based on some of the stuff he said in the past, it seems like his love kind of runs dry for things after a while. He said he got sick of amateur wrestling, got sick of professional wrestling, got sick of playing football, and eventually, probably going to get screwed around by the UFC eventually. Probably lose some matches, and he'll be like, fuck it, I want to come back and have some fun and wrestle at WrestleMania. And I think Vince, at this point, Vince has so much respect for Brock Lesnar that I think he'll be willing to pay him a lot of money just for one match. And that's all I want. I just want Brock to come back, maybe for WrestleMania, SummerSlam, make some Raw and SmackDown appearances. That'll be awesome. I mean, this is like, the WWE needs to do something to make people excited again. I think the future looks bright, though. I think CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Tyler Black, Seth Rollins. I'm sorry. I mean, they have a lot of talent that's coming in. I just think the wrong guys are being pushed. Sheamus and Wade Barrett. I think Wade Barrett is great as a heel, but the one guy that really bugs me is Sheamus. I need to see more of Alberto Del Rio. I've heard he's been awesome. It's kind of tough to watch SmackDown on a Friday night, but I'll definitely give it more of an effort in the future. All right, so let's move on to Rob Van Dam, the whole fucking show. I have to say, I think RVD hasn't been good for TNA overall. I think his arrival has kind of hurt the company in a way. I mean, the match with AJ Styles was totally disappointing. It wasn't really his fault, though. I mean, obviously it was horribly booked, but bottom line is, I mean, AJ and RVD just didn't create anything special. I remember at Survivor Series 2005, someone had a sign up that said RVD versus AJ Styles, dream match. But, this run by RVD has been totally mediocre. I mean, he just looked kind of out of shape out there. I heard the match he had with Tommy Dreamer was horrible. He doesn't look like his passion. He's losing his passion by the minute right now. It seemed like his passion was definitely there, like back in March or April or whatever it was. But and when even when he won the world title, I know RVD hates losing belts. I know he likes to remain the champion. So I don't know. Hopefully RVD versus Jeff Hardy feud. We'll give him some time. But I'm just saying it's kind of disappointing. I really feel like AJ got screwed. I feel like AJ was really hitting his stride as a heel champion. So I think TNA is just a mess right now. Like I said, I was kind of positive after Bound for Glory was over. And, you got to keep in mind, I don't watch a lot of mainstream pay-per-views. Like, I see a lot of tape DVDs. That's pretty much most of the stuff I watch, like just tape stuff on DVD. So when I see a pay-per-view live, my level of excitement is a lot higher than probably the average person watching it. So I probably have the tendency to overrate a lot of WWE and TNA pay-per-views. But I thought that main event was great. I thought it was going great. But this whole thing with Bischoff and Hogan forming this immortal stable, it's kind of wacky. I get what they're trying to do. The guy from the Wonder Years, what's his name? Jason Harvey, Bischoff's best friend. Obviously, they're trying to make it more of a television type of product, I think. And it just wasn't a good move. The company seems very, very, it's very, very cheesy right now. But, I really think that, this all goes back to the Victory Road 2009. That's when people started really complaining. I never even saw the pay-per-view, by the way, but that's when people were saying fire Russo. Like this one, it got really bad. Everyone was sending letters to Dixie Carter. You got to change the product. You got to get more people in there. You got to sign Paul Heyman. Then all of a sudden, things started to get good. Christopher Daniels was still there. Homicide was still there. They gave us those two great pay-per-views at the end of 2009, and then since Hogan and Bischoff have come in, I think TNA is pretty much hit an all-time low. Definitely think this is the worst the company's ever been. Impact is definitely unwatchable. I mean, how could you just let a guy like Christopher Daniels go? I mean, that guy was arguably your most valuable player as far as talent goes, and you just let him go like this piece of shit. I don't know if they even made an effort to sign him back, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. And speaking of Kurt Angle, give Kurt Angle credit. Throughout all the bullshit, he still goes out there, puts on the great performance, and I just think he deserves better. I really feel like Angle is, arguably the greatest in-ring performer in the history of the business, and I would just love for him to finish his career, maybe have his career-ending match at a WrestleMania. Vince will definitely take him back. For everyone that says that Vince won't take him back because of what he said, he's Kurt Angle, man. I mean, you got to respect him. You could definitely tell he's cleaned up his act. You could definitely tell he's a good guy. So I definitely think he will. I definitely think Brock and Angle will wrestle for the WWE at least one more time before it's all said and done. NBA really quickly. I'm going to make an NBA video talking about all the interesting NBA storylines. The storylines have been great in the NBA this season. This is such an interesting year. Utah Jazz are playing great. I really think they're better this year than last year. Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh has been totally disappointed. Very, very overrated. And it's really shown that, he's really being exposed out there. But I'll talk more about him later. And by the way, for anyone that cares, there was an ROH show called Eye of the Storm 2. I rewatched that show again. It really wasn't that bad. I think a lot of people said it was the worst show of the year. I think I said that as well. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I said it was. And I just rewatched it again without the commentary. So definitely check it out without the commentary. I think I'm running out of time. I was going to talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin, talk about him walking out of the WWE. Was it a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, really quickly, just think Austin was so great. There's never going to be anyone like him. Him walking out of the WWE, I think it was. Do you really think it hurt his legacy? I really don't. I really don't think so. I really think Austin was so great because everything he did, it felt 100% real. Like Austin's heart had to be in it, and when Austin's heart was in it, there was nobody better. Maybe he wasn't the best wrestler, but he did go out there and perform beautifully. He had some of the best storytelling matches, one of the most intense performers in the history of the business. I love Austin, so I just miss him to death. I feel like watching some old Stone Cold Steve Austin matches really soon, actually. So, all right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and take it easy.